welcome to my channel, Tiana G. Today we're going to do a paint with me where I just paint some photos that I took in Panama. Okay, I'm going to be using my Artiza. It's a watercolor book. Let's see if it's hot press or cold press. It's 8.3 by 11.7 inches, 110 pounds, 64 pages. It's cold press, and I've had these sketchbooks for a really long time, but I actually never used them. They're really big, and I usually don't paint this large. So, and when I get a big page like that, I kind of just like get anxious, and then I just try to like really just fill the whole page, and it gets really jumbled up. You can see that like in my first page of this journal. It's really just not that cute. So yeah, but it's cold press, and this is the first time I've ever used cold press paper, and I feel like it's just too soft. Because when I use this paper, the like if I use washi tape on it, it'll pick up some of the paper, and I don't really like that, because you know, with this painting I did use washi tape on it, and I had to move the washi tape over a little bit to make the line a little bit straighter, and it picked up some of the paper. And washi tape is not a strong hold tape. That's why people use it in their paintings, because it won't rip up your paper, because it's not a strong hold. You can like literally pull it off no problem, even on your skin. Like if I was to tape my skin and pull it off, it wouldn't feel like a band-aid, like I'm ripping it off. It'll just, you know, come right off. So that's why people use washi tape in their work, because it usually doesn't disturb the paper. But this definitely disturbed this paper. So I don't know if I like that, but I am using the back side of a page, and I think that might be it, because I don't think both sides are the same texture. Like when I touch the next page, it has a little bit more texture than when I touch the page that I sketched on. So I feel like I'm gonna have to use one side of this paper when I paint. I don't know if I like that. I don't know if I like that idea of only being able to use one side of the page. Yeah, because the next page is softer. Like even when I go to the next page of this, I don't like the idea of that. I would have to skip a page, or maybe I would have to like do a collage, or like paint, tape another painting on this side, because I really want to fill the whole sketchbook. I want to use both sides of the paper. So I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. So let's get started. I started this painting with the sketches already done. I couldn't sleep this day. I woke up at like 6 o'clock in the morning. I did the sketches and I started painting by 7. And I didn't finish my paintings until like 11:40. I did have to stop because my battery died. So yeah, so I stopped for like 40 minutes. So I painted for a total of like 4 hours that day. So I did include a reference into this painting. Here it is. This is what I did, but I took myself out of it because I didn't want to paint people. I didn't want to have to do details on that small of like a scale. If I ever do portraits, it would definitely be on a bigger scale, because I don't like doing portraits super small, and I don't have extremely small brushes to get like super fine detail as of right now. But eventually there might be portraits in this particular sketchbook. So the point of today's video is to give you all a chance to get to know me better. I have been posting on here for a while, but I haven't yet posted much about myself personally.
I'm 27 years old. I love traveling and art. I actually haven't ever painted before the pandemic. Art was one of the pandemic hobbies that I developed. Last year, I didn't do much art because the world had just opened up for travel, and I wanted to get back into the world. But this year, I really want to focus on developing my skills and focusing on my passions. I am currently taking a few courses that I won't disclose until after they are completed. Also, I am a college dropout. My experience in college was very terrible. I went into college completely blind. My parents pushed college a lot, but didn't have enough money to put any of it aside for me to go to college. So when I got to college, I was working 2 to 3 jobs while studying biochemistry and minoring in business and administration. I worked in the chemistry lab as well as worked in the library in the interlibrary loans department. And then after class, I worked at CVS as a cashier, and then later I was a farm tech. I would get home at 10 p.m., do school till midnight, and then wake up at 4 a.m. the next morning to study again before my classes started at 8 a.m. Then I would work and go to class and do all that with no breaks. After a couple of years, that got really exhausting, as you can imagine. My last year of college, I was completely exhausted and drained and burnt out. I couldn't remember anything. My brain was like a sieve. It could not work at all, and I could not pass. I was getting a lot of D's that were like 1 or 2 points from a C, which ended up being a failing grade for me because you had to make at least a C to, get credit for the class. And so I was just barely getting D's, and I could not help it. Like, I would study and be more anxious and stay up and pull more all-nighters for no avail, because what the real problem was that I was exhausted. I could not study more. I could not put in more effort because I was at my max. And at the time, it just made me more stressed out, and I could not relax. So even when I could had a chance, to take a break, I didn't. And it just made me more burnt out, and to the point I came to a breaking point and I had to drop out. I wish this story had a happy ending and all that work was not for anything, but I guess it was for nothing because I ended up dropping out and I don't have a degree, and I put in all that effort kind of for nothing. And it was disappointing at the time, but I wasn't extremely in love with what I was doing anyway. I'm not in love with biochemistry, and I don't know what I would have done with the degree anyway. It probably would just be something I had. After college, I spent a few years just working, cleaning up debt. Then I saved enough to buy my van, which I bought in cash. I had put some work into it, but my dad's van broke down. In my family, he's the breadwinner, and I was living with him as well as my brother and my mom. So since I had a van, I let my dad use it. So for the past year, my dad has been using my van every day for his business until he can afford to buy a new van. It's just something I felt obligated to do, but also I'm glad to do. If I can help my family in any way, I would like to. Even though, we've had hard times, I love my family. And they're great people as well, and deserving people. We just don't have the best of luck, I guess. Hopefully by the end of this year, he will have enough money to buy himself a new van, and I can use my own van for myself. I was planning to do van life with it, and I still continue to plan to do that. At any point in my life, I'm going to do van life, and I will live in that van, whether I buy land and just park it on there and live in it or something else. But I do want to still do van life and travel in my van. But now I am doing art and traveling around whenever I can or whenever I have enough money to do so. And I paint. So that's about me. so much in the past couple of years. I've learned that you can do everything right and still not be successful, and you can do what everyone says is the right thing to do, but you still have to do what's right for you, particularly because what seems right for the world may not be right for you specifically. I've learned how to be patient, how to be kind to myself, how to love myself regardless of what I have and what I do. I'm deserving of whatever I desire because I exist and I desire it, and that's enough. Um, I'm 27 now, and I still live with my parents, and it's not ideal. That's not what I had planned for myself. It's not what I've ever would have thought of myself, because I've always been a good student. I always did everything right, or what at least people say is the right thing to do, and it just didn't work for me. And I'm 27, still living at home, but I still have my passions. I'm still moving forward, and what I do right now might not be what I do in the next year or the next couple months. Life is always changing, and you just have to be willing to adapt to all life's changes. So, if you want to, comment down below and tell me something you guys are struggling with and learning from or growing from. Thanks for watching my channel. What do I dream for my future? I dream that I am self-sufficient at some point in my life. I want to rely on myself and not be living with my family for the rest of my life, or probably in the next year. Hopefully I'm not. I want to be doing something I'm passionate about and that I love to do. I don't want to be miserable at a desk and doing things that I don't like for the rest of my life. I would love to see my channel grow and be a sustainable source of income at some point. I hope that I find something that I really enjoy and am good at to do for a living. And I just hope that I eventually am living and being the person that I've always wanted to be and that I know I'm capable of becoming. And that's what I see for myself. Hopefully this year will be that year. I hope that from watching this video you can understand me a little bit more and get to know me a little bit more. because I've been posting on this channel for a very long time, and you guys never really got to see me or know who I am. But I think that this backstory might get you guys a chance to see me as a human and not just like a YouTube personality, because I've been through things and done a lot of things in my life, and I have so much that I can share, and I'm willing to share if you're willing to listen. Thanks for listening.
Thank you guys so much for watching. We're at the end. I finished all 4 spreads. It took me really long. It took me, I would say, I started at 7 and it's 11:48 right now. I did take a break because my camera died for like 40 minutes. But what is that? 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 4 hours. So about an hour each piece it took me. I would say the car one is my favorite. I did mess up the perspective of this building. It looks really terrible. I might paint this over like later but yeah, I don't like this building. The car and the rest of the buildings look really good to me, and I even like how I did the pavement. The other ones are good as well. This one with the houses and the dock. Yeah, you can tell this one was my first one because it's just not that great. But that was my warm-up one. The rest of them I would say is pretty good, and I never really painted buildings before, so the perspectives were like really hard for me to get down and to like visualize in my head of like where the shadows would be, because I never drew buildings before. I've always drawn landscapes, I've drawn animals, and I've drawn people, but not really any buildings. So that was a different thing for me. So I'm pretty happy with what I did for it being my first time. But don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!
I did end up adding some calligraphy work because the tape ended up ripping up some of my paper. As you can see, like the top left, there's a big gap right there, and that's where the P is. And so I kind of like try to camouflage the tape ripping up my paper a little bit. And it ended up being a really nice addition. I'm happy I added that.